Welcome. I hope everybody had a very happy Mother's Day weekend. Before I begin, I would like to express my appreciation for my wife, Nadine, who is home this evening with our two sons. In our household, both parents work. Each of us makes sacrifices. But without her understanding and support, I would not be able to serve our community to the standard I have. And for that, I am incredibly grateful and love her very much for being a special person. Me and my sons lean on her in times of need. I do want to lower expectations for this evening. I have the unfortunate obligation of delivering this address. Not to mention having to follow both Supervisor Withrow and Chiesa in delivering these marks the past 2 years. The good news, however, is for Vice Chair Graywall, you can only go up from here. I do want to thank my friend, past Chair Withrow, for his leadership, good humor, and guidance after my election to the board. Both he and Supervisor Chiesa have been great mentors throughout this wonderful experience that is going on 3 years now. I know I speak on behalf of the entire board in thanking them both for their service to this great county and for their wealth of institutional wisdom. I salute them, as well as Supervisors Graywall and Condit, for their willingness to work in a cohesive and collaborative effort to guide and lead our county in establishing best practices for providing services that meet the needs of our county residents. I want to thank all our elected officials and appointed officials, whether City Council, School Board, Community Service District, or Municipal Advisory Commission, for their partnership and collaboration in making our county a better place to live. Thank you to all our county employees, led by Chief Executive Officer Jody Hayes, our community organizations, small businesses, large businesses, school districts, and nonprofits. It is an essential value we embody to ensure that we are doing our best to provide the necessary services to the community of which we serve. We strive to be a county of opportunity. Though we face many challenges, I believe opportunity rests within those challenges which we face. An opportunity to strive to do better, to do more than we've done yesterday. To ensure that an equal opportunity is afforded to everyone so that they have equal access to resources in order to pursue the American dream. For I believe it's not government's role to solve all your problems, but it is the role of the government to allow the opportunity to empower you to solve it yourself. And I believe we have seen successes, of which I will highlight. But progress is a never-ending road that is measured by inches, not by miles. A pursuit that we must never relinquish, despite the challenges and obstacles encountered along the way, and the effort to see the scales of liberty and justice balanced for all those in this great country and county. My question to each of you in attendance tonight is, what is government? And what is your role within that government? Oxford defines government as a noun, the governing body of a nation, state, or community. In this context, we will focus on the word community and how it relates to government and vice versa. And let us remember who our county is. It is the residents totaling north of 550,000 who collectively call Stanislaus County their home. Our mission statement is simple and clear. Here in Stanislaus County, we build community. But it is not built by the 5 of us on this dais, but by the nearly 5,000 employees within the various agencies and departments. Our employees here in Stanislaus County consistently answer the call of service and are dedicated to making our community a better place to live, work, and raise a family. I trust the board will continue to support our employees, giving them the proper tools and resources for them to be successful in their work. And in turn, this will make our county successful. For we must always keep in mind who it is and what it is we are working for, and which local government has always been meant to be the closest to the people it represents, accessible and accountable to the community. I believe this must always be the standard here in Stanislaus County. In Stanislaus, we are all part of something bigger than ourselves. And side by side together, we are stronger. With each voice, whether echoed from Turlock, Newman, or Oakdale, we are united with a clear-eyed approach that emphasizes solutions. Solutions based in no concern of who bears the credit. For our worth as elected officials isn't based on the title which we hold, but in what we can deliver for those we represent. This is especially true for me, representing the most underserved areas in Stanislaus County, District 5. Neighborhoods that have gone without for generations, where in South Modesto, school children bring extra pairs of clothing to change into once at school, of pants soaked knee-high when it rains and floods. The elderly and disabled who are unable to freely navigate their community due to unleveled dirt and gravel paths that offer no other option than to travel in the street. I'm tremendously proud of the leadership this board showed in allocating $55.8 million of American Rescue Plan Act funds to community infrastructure and county urban pockets. As we all know sitting here, that is not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. But in addition, our board has worked with county staff to establish a new program that redirects end-of-the-year savings to directly benefit infrastructure projects in each district. This newly established program has directed an additional $15 million in county general funds to support infrastructure projects in the current fiscal year. And together with our ARPA funds, over $70 million in direct investments to improve neighborhoods throughout Stanislaus County will be made in the next several years. The task is now at hand to move efficiently and effectively as possible in order to make our dollar stretch the farthest it can go to cover as many streets as possible. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge Debrief, a small local organization of 3 passionate individuals who were contracted to perform extensive outreach efforts, which consisted of holding public meetings and surveying underserved communities throughout the county, walking door to door across those unleveled dirt and gravel roads, seeking a true and accurate representation of the needs of the community. I also want to personally thank our State Senator Marie Alvarado Gil, who has submitted a state budget request for matching funds of the $16 million that was allocated for my district specifically, that could potentially result in $32 million overall for the Park Lawn and Bret Harte communities in South Modesto. The realist in me understands that this ambition request may not survive the governor's veto pen, but I am proud of the efforts made to bring attention of some of our most vulnerable neighborhoods to the governor's office, and I commend and appreciate our senator for that. As a county, we will only be as strong as our weakest link. That is true with every organization. We must do better, and I believe we will do better to ensure that we don't leave communities like South Modesto behind for another generation. So again, I ask you, what is government? What is your role in this process? What impacts can be made and have been made due to your input? One of the greatest benefits I find in being in this role is meeting and hearing about life stories and experiences from folks all over the county, understanding their perspective, and trying to conjure up solutions to problems. I understand that not everyone is able to attend our public meetings, whether it be work, school, or lack of childcare. Whatever the reason may be, I think each of us can understand how in one way or another, life can get in the way. I personally would be in favor of more night meetings, such as why I chose to hold this address tonight. But with all the activities, whatever they may be, there will always be a portion of the population who will not be able to engage our board here at the dais. The facts of life are reasonable and understanding. But what we as a society must not excuse, what we cannot afford to excuse, is the attitude of indifference. Now more than ever is a need for civic engagement, whether it be in these board chambers or beyond. We must not settle for apathetic challenges to government without daring to challenge ourselves to get involved through engagement. Whether it's through volunteerism or simply by sending an email, we must all do our part to not sit on the sidelines. I understand the public cynicism of government. I understand the mistrust. Government doesn't plead for trust, but earns it. The trust is earned through action and accountability, but this is shared through a bond and commitment with the public. So again, what is government to you? I do appreciate those who are afforded the opportunity to show up to these meetings, and whether they are in agreement with our line of thinking or not, your comments and the time you take out your day is not lost on us, who have the privilege and honor of representing you. Individuals such as John Mataka, Miguel Donoso, Corinne Whitlow, Stephen Morrow, among others. Your advocacy, your perspective and concerns for your community represent the essence of what our government should be. A reflection of all of us, a reflection of our community. I find those reflections in community members across our county, such as Newman-Crows Landing Unified School Board member Rosalie Hurst and her husband Bill, who are some of the most selfless people I know, whether volunteering for their church, in the past delivering meals to homebound seniors in Newman, or Bill, who has volunteered countless hours to the Newman Fire Department. I've had the honor of recognizing these two individuals, Rosalie, District 5's 2022 Outstanding Senior of the Year, and most recently, recognizing Bill as District 5's Veteran of the Year for his honorable service during Vietnam. Albertina Reynoso, who works as the lead promotora at the Family Resource Center in Patterson, who has committed her life to ensure at-risk families have an advocate fighting for them. Her work with the Promotoras of Patterson benefited countless lives through the pandemic, coordinating and distributing protective equipment to some of the most vulnerable populations on the west side of the county in Grayson. Or Martha Villaseñor, who has committed to representing her community on the South Modesto Municipal Advisory Committee, and was successful in circulating a petition throughout the Park Lawn community, gathering the hundreds of signatures needed to make a case of community support of speed humps being established in her South Modesto neighborhood. These individuals are ones to seek praise, though they deserve it. But it is what they do with no need or want to receive accolades that make a difference, that has a ripple effect on the lives of which they touch. That is community in action. That is the very best reflection of government. Another project I'm extremely proud of is the long-awaited Bonita Pool project in the community of Crows Landing. I want to sincerely thank State Senator Ana Caballero for her hard work in securing the needed funding of up to $3 million for this project after inflation drove up the construction costs significantly after the grant funding of our county was originally awarded. This is a perfect example of our state partners working closely with our organization and members of the community to see what they can do in Sacramento and finding solutions to the best benefit of us here locally. Along with myself, my fellow board members have been hard at work on behalf of our constituents and have exciting developments in our respective districts. And I know their constituents appreciate all of their efforts. In District 4, Supervisor Graywall has been a strong advocate for widening of McHenry Avenue, which improves traffic safety and our roads. He recently led the charge of a community cleanup effort on Daly Avenue and has been a strong advocate for beautification projects along the Tuolumne River and across the county. District 4 will also greatly benefit from the ARPA infrastructure funds, with much-needed infrastructure improvements in South Modesto along River Road and Bystrom, as well as in the Airport District, which has also gone without for generations. Supervisor Withrow has fought hard for his district as well, with his advocacy and making the Salida Sheriff's Substation a reality, which will restore a much-needed resource and increasing public safety for our Salida residents. He has fought for and seen through the transformative State Route 132 project, which has been a significant undertaking for decades. With the recent completion of Phase 1 and the future Phases 2 and 3, which will go through Gates Road, this project will greatly benefit our public and commercial usage and increase traffic safety for those traveling across our county. The Riverdale Park Track in District 3 will also be a significant benefactor of the ARPA funds for curbs, gutters, and sidewalks. Supervisor Chiesa ensured that the annexation of Kenwood Island in Turlock would come to fruition. He worked hard and fought for funding and efforts of completion of the Hickman and Santa Fe Bridge projects. Through his many years of advocacy, we saw the completion of the Empire and Turlock libraries. And he is someone our county consistently turns to when it's time to fight for county funding in Sacramento and Washington, D.C. In District 1, Supervisor Buck Condit has worked hard to reform ERAF funding for reimbursements of our local fire districts through Prop 172, which will benefit us all by further supporting public safety. Along with his continuous work on the North County Corridor, his advocacy for the construction of a walk path in Valley Home was approved recently, providing much needed access for his constituents in that community, and he also hosted the second annual Valley Home Spring Community Cleanup. I applaud each of my fellow board members for their work and listening and acting on the concerns of their constituents and their respective districts. Your input as the public gives each of us something to aspire to. With these projects and others alike gaining momentum due to the input and the need in each community, with the goal of improving our quality of life throughout Stanislaus County. One of these projects that has been very near and dear to my heart has been the need for an after-hours medical care facility on the west side of the county. Currently speaking, the entire stretch of Highway 33 from Newman to Wesley and Grayson are without a 7-day-a-week after-hours medical facility. This is a clear quality of life issue that our West Side residents live with on a daily basis. Patterson is currently our fastest growing community within the county, and the time is long overdue to address the needs of our West Side residents in delivering after-hours health care. I am proud to say, and without going into too many details, we currently have a proposal. And I'm not going to go into too many details, like I said. A proposal is on the table to answer the basic healthcare needs of our West Side residents. And if this is successful, and I believe it will be, with the support and usage of the community, it will be the necessary steps to attracting a long-term health provider. We will need to crawl before we walk before we run. But the process being made could be the start of making a full-fledged hospital on the west side a reality for the decades to come. I do want to sincerely express my gratitude to our county staff for all their hard work behind the scenes, and specifically Ruben Imperial. This is a very exciting moment in the time on this issue, and I believe we are all up to the challenge in getting this done and delivering for our West Side residents. Building from that, I would also like to highlight the significant progress being made in our relationship with all our 9 cities within Stanislaus County over the last year. For well over a decade, there have been numerous conversations regarding the property tax sharing agreement, which for the last 25 years has been a 70-30 split favoring the county. With the effort of this board in conjunction with our city mayors, a 50-50 property tax sharing agreement was made a reality. and will pay huge dividends for our incorporated cities, of which are responsible for 80% of where our county population resides. I am proud of this board for recognizing the success of our cities is the success of our county, and this agreement is evidence of that. Like many counties across the valley, we have struggled to find ways to sustain jobs here for our residents. I am proud of the steps this board has taken in partnership with the Stanislaus Community Foundation in crafting the vision for our future economy. The Stanislaus 2030 Investment Blueprint displays that far too many families are currently struggling in our local economy, and those struggles disproportionately impact our most vulnerable residents living within disadvantaged communities. These challenges may take decades to address, but the work must begin now with a clear vision for how we can move forward together as a community to deliver high-quality jobs for our residents, while also helping everyone compete equally in the economy which we have today. Stanislaus 2030 sets the vision and provides comprehensive playbook for how to bring additional investment into the county that is historically missed. While I'm pleased to see the board supports up to $18 million in direct investments to fund recommendations within the investment blueprint, I am thrilled to see outside investment already occurring within just a few months of the board taking action. Just this past week, we learned of new grants from federal and state agencies that will put us over the $5 million mark in new funding for our community. Funding that would not exist without the County Board of Supervisors prioritizing economic development and recognizing our collective responsibility to use our time in county leadership to help shape our economy, providing equal support to all the residents of our community. While I am very proud of the work I do each day to learn about the challenges of individual members of my district and how I can possibly be of a benefit to them, I am equally proud of the seeds we are planting for the future that will bear fruit for generations to come. Part of securing an economic future for our residents is also protecting and fighting for our precious water resources. We are under constant threat from Sacramento to chip away and weaken access to our most valuable resource. As a county government, as a community, we must collectively unite and push back on these efforts every turn of the way, or else face the consequences of these extreme measures that will put all of our livelihoods at stake. So in conclusion, what is government and what is it to you? Well, I believe government is as Lincoln stated at his address in Gettysburg, one that is of and for and by the people, and is only successful by the participation and engagement of that people. What I believe is a perfect symbolic representation of government is that of a mirror. Some of us avoid them at all costs. Some of us like to stop and stare without hesitation. Society is that mirror, or at least the one who holds it. Government is that mirror. Our government is supposed to be a reflection of ourselves. And either you like what you see or you avoid what is in front of you. And quite frankly, on a broader scale, for the most part, the image staring back at us, the embodiment of our representation, has become unrecognizable due to the avoidance. But until we can address the reflection in the mirror, until we can collectively address what is in front of our faces, we will only continue to see what we wish to change. The reflection in front of us isn't perfect, and neither is government. But we must resist indifference. We must resist cynicism. It's time each of us took the responsibility in holding up that mirror in order to take a hard look at what is staring back at us, even at times when we wish not to. Because that is when self-examination is at its highest importance. For accountability is not just for those who we criticize, but is for those who take responsibility in enacting change. It is not only our civil duty to ourselves, but is our civil duty to all.